Guys, we originally talked about Aerodrome Finance, the leading decentralized exchange on Base, far before it ever truly took off when it was first listed on Coinbase as an experimental asset. In this video, we're going to go over Aerodrome Finance and the recent price action. And is the large dip in the market that Aerodrome has not been immune to, is it warranted? And how has the Base ecosystem been growing? But we cannot forget about Velodrome Finance, built on Optimism. We will do a review over all of this, get into total value locked and the price. But first, I want to welcome you all back to Freeman Finance and Crypto, where if it makes money, it makes sense, guys. I'm truly grateful for every single one of you. But if you are not a part of the family, please pause the video, hit subscribe, hit that bell notification, and welcome to the Freeman and Finance family. So guys, let's get into the price of Aerodrome. So as you can see, we are currently at $1.30, which wicked down to under $1.20, with the high of just a couple weeks ago at $2.28. So it's almost fell by 50% in price, but is that warranted? We all know Base is one of the hottest ecosystems out. So is this price warranted? But first, let's do a little deep dive into what Base is. So everyone knows, or most people know, unless we've been living under a rock, that Base is a layer 2 built on Ethereum by Coinbase. But that's where the extent of some people's knowledge ends. So I'm here to expand that. Base is actually built on the OP stack by Optimism. So it's an optimistic rollup by Optimism, which is very, very fast and secure. And so this is not a fly-by-night project by Coinbase. There's literature of them talking about this over 8 years ago, with their goal being to onboard the 100 million plus users of Coinbase on chain. Okay, it's very, very important for people to be able to not just deal with decentralized applications or centralized applications. I know a lot of people that leave all their cryptocurrency on centralized applications, guys, not your keys, not your crypto. And Coinbase is working on Base in order to make this extremely easy for people to get on chain. And they're doing this by integrating Base directly into the app. Guys, I sent Ethereum onto the Base chain directly from Coinbase, and I didn't have to wrap it or anything. They did all that work when sending it to my wallet that I wanted the Base on. So y'all let me know down in the comments if y'all want me to do an in-depth video on Base and how to get stuff onto the Base ecosystem and do all that so we don't lose our funds. But that is a quick overview of what Base is. But when we look at these top blockchains by total value locked, you will see that Base is number 6, which is extremely impressive when we think that Base does not really have any projects built on it that have utility at the moment. It's very, very much a investment into the ecosystem with Aerodrome Finance and a lot of this total value locked. Yeah, there are some projects on it that are multi-chain, but nothing that's really built only on Base. Basically, we have a lot of meme tokens like Degen, Roost, stuff like that, but there's no real big project. So for it to be number 6 with that alone and no real use cases right now is extremely bullish. And Optimism is down here at 11 with the TVL of 900 million, and Base is at almost 1.6 billion. So when we look at that, it is apparent that Base has a long ways to go. But how has it been growing? And guys, this website is DeFi Llama. I absolutely love it. I recommend everyone going to it. But as you can see, Base has a TVL right now of 1.55 billion. And when we look at this trend, guys, we're trending two things, TVL and volume. And you can see since March, the TVL has been going up and also the volume has been going up. Now, yeah, within the last week, volume dipped a little bit, but it's still over 300 million in volume. So a lot of transactions are being done on Base, and it's definitely growing a lot as an ecosystem. So when we look at this price over the last month, this big dip really was not warranted, okay? It's currently 219th in total market cap with a little over $500 million. So it's definitely a growing project, but I believe it still has an extremely long ways to go. But when we compare it to the Optimism chain, Optimism, I would say for the last year or so, if we start back here in like July or August, has been pretty average, like stagnant on average. You can see if we were to draw a line right down the middle of this, the trend would average out pretty straight, and the same for volume. So Optimism has not dipped as a layer or two, but it stayed stagnant. But it's definitely not growing like bases. And when you think base doesn't have any real projects built on it, that tells me that Aerodrome Finance is extremely, extremely undervalued. And the real only exposure that I can get to base is Aerodrome Finance because there isn't any real projects built on base yet. So, guys, none of this is ever financial advice, just my personal opinion and what I'm doing. I'm slightly a degen who just loves finance and doing research on it. But it's definitely not a warranted dip. Even when we look back a year when it was around 9 or 10 cents, it has skyrocketed since then. But I still personally feel that Aerodrome Finance is a great opportunity at this price, and I'm actively looking at another opportunity to get in. I am not somebody that likes to average up a lot, and since I was an early investor in Aerodrome Finance, it's hard for me to bite that bullet. But I do have a lot of conviction in Aerodrome, so if the price dips a little more towards a dollar, I will bite that bullet and do it, even though, as I said, I do not think the dip is warranted. And so if we look at the Velodrome Finance price, this is going back a year. And you can see it did not have the huge run up like Aerodrome did. I'm sorry about that. It did not have the huge run up like Aerodrome did. It did have a run up because of the pumpamentals. That's the difference. Pumpamentals and fundamentals. So pumpamentals did shoot it up to 35 cents, but it's came down to 16 cents. And that is not saying it's a bad project, but that's a good example of pumpamentals versus fundamentals because we have not seen growth in the ecosystem. The growth in the ecosystem has been stagnant. It's not necessarily bad. We're just now starting to go into a bull run, but it is not growing like the base ecosystem is. So I'm sorry that keeps popping up, guys. But when we look at base on X, they've got almost 700,000 followers and are extremely, extremely active. I'm just waiting on them to announce real world asset projects, and I will be the first one to buy into them. I'm extremely bullish on base as a chain and think that there will be great things built on it. And I'm looking forward to Coinbase integrating base into absolutely everything they do. But yeah, Aerodrome Finance, the leading DEX on base, Velodrome Finance, the leading DEX on Optimism. Both great projects. Both have had a huge dip recently, which Aerodromes I do not think is warranted. But guys, let me know down below. Are y'all holding Aerodrome Finance? And what do you think about Velodrome Finance? Have y'all given up on it? Or what do y'all think is the best play? And watch one of these two videos up above and subscribe if you haven't, and join the Freeman and Finance family. Thank you.